What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? How you doing today? Hope you're excited because today we're back with another top 5 trending Young Guns video. This time we got the top 5 trending Young Guns for the month of March 2025. The NHL's on absolute fire lately. Absolute crazy playoff races and division races going on right now. And some Young Guns are trending, and some of them are surprising to me. So it's an interesting list this time around. If this is your first time finding my channel, please consider subscribing. It's completely free. Change your mind at any time. Drop a like on this video if you did enjoy. It really helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Helps me push more videos to more viewers so I can keep making videos like this for you guys. Comment down below anyone I may have missed today. My list isn't the right list. It's just my list. So comment someone I may have missed. Follow us on Instagram, our sports cards. And as per usual, this is not financial advice. Please invest in sport cards at your own risk. All the graphs you see in today's video will be courtesy of Sport Card Investor, not a sponsor or anything, for PSA 10 Young Guns in US dollars. And yeah, without further ado, let's kick things off here with number 5. Okay, for number 5 is actually going to be a recurring name that we've seen before here on these lists. It's going to be Dustin Wolf of the Calgary Flames. And Dustin Wolf, as of late, has definitely made a case for his name being in Calder consideration. I actually heard Craig Button during one of the Habs games mention that he thinks Dustin Wolf should win the Calder, and he's his current front runner to win the Calder. But Craig Button always says crazy things. I think I'd still give it to Lane Hudson over Dustin Wolf, but you can't deny what Dustin Wolf is doing is special. The stats he's putting up on a not so great Calgary team, at least on paper, they're not so great. They're pretty good. They're pretty impressive for a rookie goaltender. And if the Calgary Flames can get into the playoffs and they could go on a run, Dustin Wolf would likely be at the center of it. And I do like his cards to go up if they were to get in and if they were to go on a run. Do I think it's likely? No, but there is a chance. Taking a look at his stats here, you can see Dustin Wolf's posted a .915 save percentage as a rookie goaltender in the NHL, which is very hard to do. So that's very impressive there. He also posted good AHL numbers last season, and I think Dustin Wolf's the future of the net in Calgary. I think he's going to be the starter for years to come. So that holds some value because Calgary is a decent card market. It's not terrific, but it's pretty solid Canadian market. But one thing I do say with goalies every single time, goalies, they mostly rely on team success. Guys like Elias Sorokin, one of the best goalies in the league, his cards just aren't worth anything because he doesn't have any team success. So if Calgary were to go on a run this year, I think Wolf's cards would go up, but I just don't really see Calgary beating those juggernaut teams like Colorado, Dallas, Edmonton, Vegas in the West. Take a look at his graph here. You can see it's kind of up and down and up again. One recently sold for as high as 111 USD, while last month one sold for around like 75 USD. So I do think this graph is trending upwards. Dustin Wolf, I think he'll continue to trend as long as Calgary's in the hunt and as long as Calgary makes the playoffs. I do think they're going to make it over a team like Vancouver, for example, but I think Utah, don't sleep on Utah. I think Utah could sneak in there as well. But if Calgary were to make it, if they were going to run, I think his Young Guns would definitely go up. It could also spike up if he won the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year. But goalies in general, I'm just not crazy about investing into them hockey card wise because they're just really based off team success. All right, up next at number 4 is a guy I was surprised to see on this list, not because of his play, because I didn't really expect his Young Guns to be trending. It's Mason Lohrei of the Boston Bruins, and since Charlie McAvoy's injury, Lohrei has kind of really taken over as the number 1 defenseman on the Boston Bruins. And of course, Boston did a fire sale at the deadline, so maybe that's a reason as well. He's kind of like one of the only players, him and like Pasternak and Lindholm maybe, but yeah, Boston is kind of an interesting situation because they've been playing better since the deadline, but of course they sold off. Anyways, Mason Lohrei has been great since Charlie McAvoy went down with injury, and he's young. He's shown some offensive upside on the D end. Do I think he has long-term upside in the hobby? No, not really, but it shows how good a card market can be for our guys. Young Guns, Boston, good card market, so Mason Lohrei's Young Guns is trending because of that market. The reason I say it's because of the market, because if you put Mason Lohrei with 29 points in 61 games, which is pretty good for a defenseman, if you put him in like a market like San Jose, I don't think anyone's going to care. I don't think his Young Guns is going to trend. It's just because there's so much attention on Boston right now with everything going on. And Mason Lohrei is playing pretty well, and Boston in general right now is playing pretty well. So I think that's the reason why he's trending. So a good market is absolutely essential when it comes to hockey card investing, at least in my opinion. Take a look at his graph. We can see his PSA 10 Young Guns has practically doubled, or more than doubled, over the past month. One sold for as low as $24 US last month. One sold recently for as high as $57 US. Do I think the climb continues? It definitely could, but I don't see it continuing. I think it's going to kind of plateau here and then maybe drop back off. When McAvoy returns, I just don't see him continuing this production. When McAvoy returns, I think McAvoy gets that top power play back and stuff like that. Like I'm not too familiar with Boston's like special teams or anything, but even like top power play and stuff doesn't matter a ton in hockey cards. Like Charlie McAvoy's card, I think you buy like a raw Charlie McAvoy Young Guns for like 20-30 bucks, if that. So honestly, Mason Lohrei, I'm not crazy for him this season, especially if Boston misses the playoffs. All right, up next at number 3 is a guy who was recently moved at the trade deadline and is trending. It is Logan Stankoven of now the Carolina Hurricanes. I love Logan Stankoven. I love his game. I loved him in Dallas. I think he's going to be great in Carolina. I think he's going to be a great fit for that team. But do I see his young guns benefiting from it long term? No. I think it probably hurts his young guns because typically fans want young guns. Like I want to see Logan Stankoven on the Carolina Hurricanes if I'm a Hurricanes fan in his young guns card. And now that's not going to be the case. It's going to be in a Dallas jersey on his young gun card playing in Carolina. So that does hurt his value a bit. I know it sounds crazy, but it does hurt their value. Trust me. Look at Matthew Tkachuk's young guns, for example. But yeah, Logan Stankoven's a heck of a player. He's trending this month. I think he's going to be great for this Carolina Hurricanes organization. I think they did good with the hand that they were dealt with the Mikko Rantanen situation. Obviously, if they went back, they wouldn't have made the Mikko Rantanen trade in the first place, knowing how it ended up. But considering they moved him before the deadline and got a pretty good haul, including a player like Stankoven, I don't think they did too bad with the hand that they were dealt. Take a look at his stats. We can see on Dallas, he had 29 points in 59 games. It's a pretty solid season for a young player like him. And since the trade, he's got 1 goal in 2 games, so good start for him. I see him playing great on the second line role behind Aho. If Carolina were to go on the run, I'm sure his young guns would go up a bit. I don't think he'd be the focal point of the run, but who knows? Maybe he has a crazy breakout like Wyatt Johnson did a couple of years ago. That is a possibility. Similar to Wolf's graph, it's kind of all over the place. Like it's up and down, but one was sold last month for as low as 51, and one recently sold for as high as 80. So that is a trend upwards. Do I think it continues to trend upwards? I think it depends how he plays, how Carolina does in the playoffs, because they are going to make the playoffs, and they should have a pretty solid first round matchup there against the Devils, as long as the Devils can hold on to that 3rd seed. And they should have another chance at a deep run and a playoff run. So I do think he has some upside in that aspect, but I don't really see him being a focal point of the offense. I think it's going to be like Aho, Svechnikov, those guys, but he could be involved. Who knows? I just like other cards better than Stankoven for this season, but I like him as a player long term. Up next at number 2 is a guy who's having a really quiet breakout season, and it's because of his card market. It's Kent Johnson of the Columbus Blue Jackets, and he's been absolutely spectacular this season along with most of the Columbus Blue Jackets. And if Columbus were to sneak into the playoffs, I could see his young guns going up. If they were to upset a team like Florida, I think that'd be absolutely crazy, kind of similar to what they did against Tampa. Maybe they do it to Florida or a team like Toronto. I think he'd be a very focal point of the offense. Take a look at his stats here. You can see he's had 45 points in 50 games so far this season. Absolutely stellar breakout year for Kent Johnson. And honestly, if he was in a better market, his young guns probably would have been trending sooner in the season. It's just because Columbus, historically not so great card market, and historically not that like paid attention to NHL teams. So even if Columbus were to make the playoffs, unless they do something in the playoffs, I don't really see Kent Johnson's young guns going up any more than it already has. But I do see him being a great long-term player for this Columbus Blue Jackets team, and I think he'll continue to have value in the future if he continue to grow his game. Take a look at his graph here. You can see one a month ago sold for as low as 53 US, so one recently sold for as high as 95 US, so that is a pretty significant increase in Kent Johnson's PSA 10 Young Guns. But like I said, I don't think this continues. I think it'd be a good selling opportunity if you have one. I wouldn't really buy in unless you're buying like long term. I just think there's better options out there, like a lot of guys on this list. All right, and coming in at number one trending young gun for March 2025 is someone I'm very happy to see trending because his young guns has been undervalued forever. Connor Hellebuyck of the Winnipeg Jets is currently trending, and why not? Because he's been the best goalie in the league now for at least 3 years. He's been absolutely spectacular in the regular season. The issue is with Hellebuyck, he hasn't had the playoff success. We're waiting to see him have the kind of performance he does in the regular season in the playoffs. It hasn't happened. Hopefully this year that can change, and if it does change, if Winnipeg goes on a run, Connor Hellebuyck's the guy. He is the guy. If the Winnipeg Jets are in a Stanley Cup final, I'd be shocked if Connor Hellebuyck's young guns hasn't gone up any because he's going to be the reason they get there. Taking a look at his stats here, you can see a 927 save percentage this year. That's absolutely insane. Last year, 921. The year before, 920. Career save percentage of 918. That is crazy numbers there. And it's nice to see his young guns trending, but like Dustin Wolf, a lot of it's going to rely on team success. If it continues to go up or if it kind of stays plateau or if it drops off. Connor Hellebuyck basically has the Vezina locked up, so maybe that's a reason why he's trending. That and Winnipeg looks like a legit contender. We'll just have to see how the playoffs go for him. Take a look at his graph here. You can see about a month ago, one sold for as low as 143 US, one sold recently for as high as 204 US. That's a pretty significant increase there for Connor Hellebuyck of the Winnipeg Jets. Now, what do I think Hellebuyck's going to do with his cards? I think if they go on a run, his cards will most likely go up. I don't think they'd plateau unless Connor Hellebuyck was somehow not playing well and Winnipeg was winning games. I just don't think it's a likely scenario. If they're in the Cup final, I think he's going to be the main reason because of it, so I think his young guns would go up. Now, if they get bounced in the first round, I think his young guns would drop back down. I don't think there's any doubt about that. If they get bounced in the first round, get upset. I just think his young gun's going to drop off a cliff. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know anyone I may have missed. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you just found this channel, make sure you subscribe. Completely free each and every time. Smash that like button. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Take care, everyone. Have a good one.